Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome from a hotel room on the road. I'm Guy. Good to see you. Glad you're here. You might have noticed a little rebranding on the old channel. You might have noticed a little bit of some different colors, different name. Name may be spelled correctly, maybe name spelled incorrectly, but we're underway. I'm going to talk about watching Deebo Samuel and Kay Adams today. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate very much when you do that. Help the channel continue to grow and set up an off season of a lot of content. No off season here. Josh Pate does a lot of really good college football stuff for 24/7. I think he does like a O with a line through it. He says no O, no off season. I like that. And really the NFL has perfected it. All right, because I'm on the road, a little Wi-Fi. Usually if there's a good interview, we get some audio. I just play it, but it's not cooperating so much. So I'm gonna read some of these quotes to you. If you're listening on the podcast, that's great. Appreciate it. 5 stars. On Apple Podcast, get in the mailbag. Leave a review, put a question in the review, and that's how you get in the mailbag. And I will answer those questions. Lots changed this week. And I know some of you have a lot of questions. A lot of you have left comments. I continue to appreciate those comments. I've not read them all, but I'll try to get to a lot of them. So I know you still have questions. We'll try to get that stuff. But look, my thing was I didn't want to spend this week just talking about changes at the podcast and kind of doing the what's new here, what's going to happen, let's just why you guys have come to this channel. I'll try to give you why, what you've come for, and try to do some more. And, I know not everyone will hear everything or watch every video or catch every podcast. So I might mention stuff as we go, but I'm going to try to minimize and hopefully do none of the here's what's coming next videos that are just about me and the podcast and the channel and that type of shit. So that's where I'm at right now, but I'll probably repeat some stuff if you listen or watch every single time for people that maybe missed it or didn't catch it. And just let you know that, you're seeing some graphic differences on YouTube, the podcast, you'll see some graphical differences, and we'll be doing some different stuff, bringing some other people in, bouncing some stuff off people, guests, that kind of stuff, people I know talking football. So that's what's going on. That's what's up. All right. So I'm on the road. I got a basketball game on Thursday night. If you happen to be catching it, I've mentioned it a couple times, but those guys who ask about the play-by-play work I do, I appreciate it. I don't push it on you. But if Thursday night you want to watch at 6 o'clock Pacific, Washington State, 299th Apple Cup, big game. It's a big basketball game. It's on FS1. So that's what I'm on the road for. Last night went to dinner, hung out at a buddy's house, got back, flipped up the YouTube, checked out what was going on, and watched Deebo Samuel on with Kay Adams. She does a really good job of getting a lot of stuff out of Deebo. She does a good job just getting stuff out of the people she interviews because her style is casual. And, Deebo's there every week. He goes over there all the time. So, he gets it. There's more than just the Aiyuk thing I wanted to talk about with Deebo because my big offensive off-season topics is a Deebo topic. One of my big takes is a Deebo topic. But that's what he said about Aiyuk. Let's pay off the thumbnail and the title. This is what Deebo said. The season he just came off of, when you look at the numbers, since he came into the league, there's always a different type of leap, right? So he means every year this guy gets better. Yeah. So I told him, you put yourself in a position where you got to stay the course. You've done everything possible to be in this position, and you just got to let everything play out. I love that guy. I don't see him leaving. All right. So first of all, Deebo could have helped his guy a little bit in negotiation by saying, Kay, Aiyuk, he took a week, was not responding to me. Then I talked to him and he said, John Lynch better do the right thing and get me up out of here. Didn't say that. Did not help Aiyuk's leverage position. And of course, a cynic would say, Deebo, you got paid. Of course, all of a sudden you've got a great even keel, patient perspective on this. Oh, Brandon, no rush, man. What's the big deal? I got 58 million guaranteed. But what's the big deal? But I also do think, most human beings, you, me, most of us, you mature as time goes on, Deebo Samuel learned a lesson from his experience going through a trade demand, then not a trade demand. Jeff Darlington said, no, I didn't, blah, blah, blah. Agent, what? Come in out of shape, torpedo like my performance that year, like all these things. Hopefully he has good advice, good insight for Aiyuk, because Aiyuk would listen to it coming from him. He seemed very relaxed. He seemed very confident. He did not seem too worried about it. Would this be the place to be worried? Is this the time to be worried? Early March? Probably not. But I think he knows what everybody knows. But one thing I've really been hammering, Brandon Aiyuk's not a free agent. And as Deebo found out, when you're not a free agent, there's only so much you can do. And as Deebo found out, the 49ers organizationally are not going to get pushed around. They're not going to get forced into moving a guy that they don't want to move. And they don't want to move Aiyuk. Aiyuk's got $14 million coming to him this year on a fifth-year option. He was a first-round pick. Deebo was not. Not exactly the same situation. So Brandon will not be a poor man. He will not be moving in to Brock Purdy's extra bedroom, right? So I think that helps chill things a little bit. But I hadn't thought about it until I watched that interview last night, that maybe this situation, maybe it can be a little bit different because of the experience with Deebo Samuel. For Aiyuk, will Aiyuk learn anything from having watched Deebo go through it? The other thing Deebo said there that is really accurate is what he said about Aiyuk's progression. Now, as you know, my prediction, I put percentages on it, is that he plays the year on the fifth-year option. That's what I think is the most likely thing to happen, and that the 49ers extend him in 2025. Obviously, the 49ers could extend him now, and I have that second on my options. And then a distant third, really it's a distant second, and then a distant third is that he gets traded. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think as much as it's about what Deebo said, I also think it's about Deebo's demeanor during that conversation, which leads me to another point on Deebo. He was asked if his faith was shaken in the team. Now, what do you think he's going to say? Yes, my faith is shaken. Good, fair. Like, she did a really good job. She does a good job just asking questions, and because guys are comfortable with her, they talk. So she just set him up. Deebo got a big smile on his face. He said, not at all shaken. I got all the faith in the world. 4 out of 5 NFC championship games, making 2 Super Bowls is cool, fine, and dandy. Deebo loves saying fine and dandy. I get it. It's cool, fine, and dandy, but it's not cool when you're not the team at the end of the year holding the Lombardi. I thought this year the 49ers, and if you've been listening or watching, going back the full season, going back to training camp, I thought they had a really clear look about them. Like, this is a great shot for us to win a championship. We have not won a championship. We are on a mission to win a championship. And I think it's challenging when you've gone through that and you've failed. It gives you fuel. But you've done it again, and you've done it again, and it's harder and it's harder. We see teams have the hangover after they win. I don't think you get the hangover right away after you lose. Like, Philly, to me, did not have a hangover. They had a brain drain. They lost all their talent, the coaching talent, because their head coach is not the brain there. But I don't think. I mean, clearly he does something they value. But I've wondered, like, how many times can you get off the mat? How many times can you get off the mat? How many times can you get off the mat? And again, I thought it was more about Deebo's demeanor than it was about his words. He knows what it takes to get back. He said he's going to start getting back to work next week after he takes his kid to Disney World. And, I wouldn't say I'm confident necessarily because of something that he said. Way back. How many times can they do it? Little Wi-Fi blip. And we'll see. They got to prove it, but they've already proven a little bit that they got it, and I thought Deebo's demeanor there was good. The other thing that Kay Adams asked, and this is really the heart of what I wanted to address today. She said, you had the shoulder injury coming into the game. Then you had a hamstring injury in the second quarter. were you pushing through more than we knew? Deebo's answer. Yeah, y'all didn't know about too much. But it's part of the game. I'm not blaming injuries on why I didn't play the way I was supposed to play. Injuries are part of the game. You can't put too much blame on the injuries or whatever. And then he talked about, Armstead played with injuries. This is just part of what you do. So I know my buddy Ed, who's like a huge Eagles fan, who never texts me except when he perceives a 49ers player making it. This guy works at a very high level in sports. And anytime he perceives that somebody is making an excuse for the 49ers or the 49ers are making an excuse, I hear from him. I watched the clip. I'm not playing it for you. I'm just telling you he was not excuse making. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is what I have mentioned a couple of times as one of my overarching off-season takes, which is that the stock down on Deebo from a lot of people, I think, is wrong. It's not wrong like unfair wrong. I could give a shit about unfair. Wrong like you guys are wrong. And I think it comes from two main places. Number one, I think it comes from Trent McDuffie getting the better of him on the ball in the end zone, where Deebo didn't have a chance to catch that ball. And two, I think it comes from JT O'Sullivan. Now, I don't blame JT for it. JT's got a take. We probably disagree on this take. I think listening to him talk about Deebo in the Super Bowl, watching his video, I watch a lot of his videos. I don't watch them all. I watch a lot of them. And the number one thing I respect about what he does is he puts in the time. This is not some guy who barely watches a couple highlights. It's got to do 17 takes today. The producer says, all right, we're going to hit this topic, this topic, this topic, this topic, this topic, this topic, this topic. And he goes, okay, let me fire off take. No, I mean, the guy legit grinds the film. I learn stuff from him. He teaches. This is not even about JT. But so many people watched because he does such a great job, such a high volume. So many people watched his Super Bowl tape breakdown. I think that a lot of the negative Deebo takes, negative's not even the word, a lot of the takes that differ from my take on Deebo coming out of the Super Bowl are because people got the film breakdown. And so it's not even necessarily about what JT said. He just showed you a bunch of times where here's a shallow cross, Deebo kind of loafing. Although I'll say this, I sent that clip to a buddy of mine who played in the league, played receiver in the NFL. I said, what do you think? Is Deebo loafing here? And he said, I don't know. He might not be. He might be running that route at a pace that makes it A, easy for his quarterback to hit him, then B, easy for him to turn upfield and accelerate. He said, if you run with reckless abandon every time across, you are making it harder sometimes to get the ball. You're making it more likely you're going to be out of control when you do, and that you're not going to be able to turn upfield or you might get cracked. Now, the throw wasn't great either, but it hit him in the hands. If he's in full speed, does he catch that ball? I don't know. Just an aside. Anyway, the point is this, that after JT put it up there on a big, it's not about, here's what JT said, everyone's following JT. He just put the tape up. He said, here's what I see. And I watched and I went, yeah, dude, I see that too. I actually saw the same thing he saw. I don't think his take was inappropriate at all. I thought it was totally fair. But I think that the injuries have to be considered as a factor for why Deebo looked the way he looked at times in the Super Bowl. The injuries are not a factor, I don't think, for why he didn't win a 50-50 ball with Trent McDuffie in the end zone. Do you know why he didn't win the 50-50 ball with Trent McDuffie in the end zone? Some of you know why, because I've been talking about it for months. I've been talking about this going back to training camp, because he doesn't ever win that play. And when I say ever, I mean a couple times. But really, from a percentage standpoint, that is a bad percentage play. It's a bad percentage throw. I can think of plenty other guys. Actually, every other receiver on their roster, I'd rather throw that ball to. I'd rather throw that ball to Ray Ray. I think he'd have a better chance. JJ. Bray. Brandon Aiyuk. Juice. Like, he just doesn't win that play because Deebo doesn't separate in that way. He doesn't elevate on 50-50 balls like that. Coming back to the ball, not his thing. That opinion is based on watching a ton of reps in camp, watching them do one-on-one drills with cornerbacks, just watching them all the time throw that ball like once a practice. They don't win it. And I said this afterwards, I blame Kyle Shanahan for that play more than I blame Deebo for not winning on that ball, because the evidence is just there. He doesn't win on that ball. But this is not about knocking Deebo. This is for me to say, like, I think people forget a little bit. People talk about him coming out of that Super Bowl like, he doesn't really want it anymore. Or, he got paid. Nah, not really the guy anymore. And I totally disagree. Now, if you think Deebo's not top 10 money worthy, fine. Like, I saw my guy Chase Sr. had a take the other day about that. Like, it didn't bother me at all. I thought it was a take worth kind of debating. But let's not act like I don't think he's different than the guy they paid. Now, you could, like, if you think like, he's not worth the money they paid him, then I think you probably felt that way when they paid him. Like, you knew what he was and what he wasn't when you paid him. I don't have any feeling that in 2020, what year is this? 4, Deebo's going to be any different than the guy he's supposed to be. Now, I think another very fair criticism, he gets hurt. That's true. He gets hurt a lot. And his availability, his best ability is not availability. One of Aiyuk's best abilities, it's down the list because he does a lot of things really well, but his availability. And you could argue availability should never be down the list. So, watching Deebo talk, I think one thing you see is he is a leader by example in terms of the way he plays. He's not historically been a leader by example of his practice attendance, but he's a respected member of that locker room because all those dudes know all this stuff we're talking about that we failed at, NFC Championship games we've lost, Super Bowls we lost. How many of those games are we getting to without Deebo Samuel? So, I know I made a lot of points here about Deebo. And I put Aiyuk and his comments about Aiyuk in the thumbnail and in the title of the video on YouTube because that's newsier. But the more I think about it, the more I hear Deebo, the more we just talk about it, the more I think a lot of people are wrong about Deebo Samuel. And it feels like people are selling their Deebo stock. I'm not. He's done too much. I think adding McCaffrey kind of took a little shine off of Deebo for some people. Like, all right, we got this other guy that does a bunch of stuff. We don't need this guy anymore. Kay Adams said to him in the interview, I like the way she said it. Because I don't totally buy it. But she goes, I'm interviewing you, so I Googled your name. Kay, you've interviewed Deebo every week for like multiple months. But it's smart. Maybe she did it, maybe she didn't. If she did, it was smart. If she didn't but thought of this, then it's smart. So this is a compliment. I thought it was a really good way to ask this question. Like an excellent way to ask it. It was a clinic in how to ask this question. She nailed it. She said, I Googled you. And the first 3 results, she read them the first 3 Google results. The first 3 results are like, why the Niners, could the Niners, are the Niners, trade Deebo, trade Deebo, trade Deebo. Genius question. I was like, God, that is the perfect way to ask that question. He's like, I don't know anything about that. But I think, again, it comes up, I think, because of this feeling coming out of the Super Bowl that he can't quite do it anymore. Or that he's not worth the money anymore, But I don't think he's any different of a guy. If you didn't like the salary when they gave it to him, it's like, he's not Justin Jefferson, he's not Stephon Diggs. Like, yeah, well, he wasn't that guy then, he's not that guy now. Oh, well, you can't really trade him now. No one wants that contract. Who's really going to give him the Stephon Diggs money? Or I guess Tyreek money, or what Justin Jefferson's about to get. Hey, Diggs wants new money, so that's a bad example. I guess you get that money because you had, if let's say you get cut, not cut, but if you're a free agent, different animal, you get traded to a team. They're like, all right, we're acquiring you so that we can pay you. So it's not free agency, but it's pseudo free agency because the acquiring team always wants to make the guy happy. I'm just planting my flag on Deebo Samuel Island. I'm not going to do the media thing where I pretend like I'm the only guy in Deebo Samuel Island. Like nobody but me believes in the guy. Like that's obviously not true. Hell, more than 50% of people may believe in the guy. I'm not sure. I haven't done a poll. But, there's just enough coming out of the Super Bowl of this. I just get this energy. Like, and the other part of it is the Aiyuk thing, right? Like, I'd rather just play, pay Brandon, I don't think they have to choose, at least not yet. Nathan with a super chat. Appreciate it, Nathan, on YouTube. Guy, you're the man. These are my least favorite type of super chats to read, but I appreciate it very much. Love the content. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Not my least favorite. Compliments, thank you. I should just say thank you. Thank you. That's very nice. Let's put it up again, though. Let's see. Here we go. Let me get to a few of your thoughts, and then I got to get some breakfast and hit the road. Go to Pullman, drive down to Pullman. It's not the guy talking about Deebo. It's 100% the availability part. Aiyuk is always available, not being able to rely on you with the amount of money. With the amount of money due is just rough. That's true. I agree. I don't think there's anywhere to go with it. And I don't think they have to do anything about it right now. Next year, they're going to have to do something about it. I don't think they have to do anything about it right now. Amy says, thanks for the level-headed takes. This team is full of ballers and went to freaking OT. Fifth quarter. I'm going to call it fifth quarter. In the Super Bowl, yes, it's like to lose, but they aren't making it back unless they keep the team together. That was one thing Deebo said. I didn't read. He says, we're going to bring like 90, 95, 99% of this team back. Here's what and I've said this. Spencer on the stream says, Diggs is becoming drama queen. I did something about Aiyuk earlier in the year, or last year, I guess. And I used a bunch of clips of DK Metcalf getting ejected and Stephon Diggs throwing his helmet. And the Niners have two receivers, blue chip, right there are now blue chip receivers, who never create a problem. Ever. Throwing helmets, getting, throwing tantrums. Aiyuk is, will hit people, the other team, in the action, but underrated elite receivers who aren't like a problem at all. Comment from Robbie says, Deebo had moments of being the best player in the league this season. He's not going anywhere. Kyle loves him. Kansas City defense was just elite most of the second half. Kay Adams asked him, like, hey, what moments do you replay the most from the game? And he's like, oh, so many moments. And he starts talking. It's like at the end, like, our defense played well. Mahomes just got us, which to me is a reminder that your quarterback, I'm pro Brock here on this show. But part of it is players get better. Aiyuk got better. Aiyuk, one of the reasons I think they want to keep Aiyuk around is because they know he's going to have more catches. I think 2 years from now, Brandon's going to have a huge year. I think he could have a big year this year. But part of this is like same deal for Purdy, right? Purdy's got to improve. Deebo's still a war daddy. Cemetery 7 says, I actually think Deebo ran the wrong route on that pass. Okay. Daniel says, JT's been saying it all season, though, guy, even when the Niners were crushing teams. I know. That's not a nitpick of JT. Like, he's been consistent. That's what I said. Not just some flyby analyst dropping in, using wide-ass open WAO like I do, and just like, I'm good with nitpicking, but I'm pro nitpicking. But he's not just like picking his spots and like, no, I mean, he's been saying, I agree. He's been saying it all year. So I respect his opinion, but I fundamentally disagree with him on the value of Deebo. I think, I don't know. I guess this wasn't a value opinion by him. It was an evaluation of effort by him. And I get it, but I also see Deebo play harder than anybody else at times. So I have a hard time being like, Deebo, you don't play hard, because I have so much evidence that he does play hard. But that's a fair point, Daniel. And if I didn't make it clear that I understood that, let's make it clear that I understand it. Yes, O'Sullivan's had the same take. Mike says, why did Kyle and Brock target him 11 times if he was hurt, though? Healthy enough to play, healthy enough to be targeted. 2080 ball. Do I have any more takes I need to get to here? For those of you listening to this podcast, I didn't set the scene. I'm in a jungle hotel. It's a great hotel. For those of you who know the Pacific Northwest, you may know this hotel. And I've got a big leather. You probably can't see the brown leather is like snake skin embossed. Looks like snake skin, like that pattern. It's a high back. I've got a picture of a painting of 4 zebras drinking water behind me. And I'm comfortable. It's a good, this would be a good little studio here. Be a good little studio. So, okay, that's that for this. Thank you to everybody who's here. A big picture thank you to everybody who supports the channel and the podcast. I'll be doing some stuff that will be familiar to a lot of you. It'll be familiar to what we've done, and also some stuff that's a little different. But nothing crazy. I mean, as I said yesterday on a short video I did, if you came for the football, you're getting the football. If you came for me and John, or if you came for John, you're not going to get that, right? You get John occasionally. We'll do some stuff together still. But, I can't give you that, right? But I can give you some other things that I think you'll like, and I'll bring some other people in because I like bouncing stuff off of people, and I think it'll be fun. So get in the mailbag. We'll revive the mailbag here. Hit the like button, subscribe. This is a good time to share it. And by the way, check out manscaped.com. Use the code HAM. If you're like, hey, maybe I want to spend a few bucks. And I get a little body trimming. And you can do that by going to manscaped.com. You have many promo codes available to you, but use HAM, H-A-M, use HAM. And it'll get you 20% off and free shipping. Lawnmower 5.0, the performance package, all that kind of stuff. I'll put the link down in the description. So anyway, yeah. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Onward, upward. The journey continues. And I'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks for your support. And bye.